How's everyone doing? Welcome back to Mama's Code, the Daddy Takeover. It's your boy Camilo Contento, aka Ollie. I want to start by saying thank you to everyone that's been supporting the Daddy Takeover segment. I appreciate everyone leaving comments and suggesting episodes. I've definitely taken all of them on board, so watch out for those episodes coming out in the future. We've got a very good subject for today, and to help me have a good conversation, I've got my dear friend John Steven Perez, aka El Genialista, the one and only, the beat maker, the sampler of samplers. How you doing, my friend? Welcome to the segment, to the show.
I'm very good, man. I'm very good. Thank you. Thank you for your invitation.
Is it your first time doing anything with Mama's Code?
Apart from the sampling, yeah.
You just take everyone that listen to the show, like, yep, I'll use this to make a beat.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, John is actually a producer. So the reason why we keep saying sampling is because he's used parts from the show to create beats, which have pretty much gone viral. And
within the community, of course.
Yeah. So check him out. It's at El Genialista. Check out his work. So that's why we keep talking about, making producer jokes. So how you been, my friend?
Yeah, I've been good, man. Been good.
How's everything going?
Very well, man. Keeping myself busy during these lockdown 2.0, 3.0, should I say?
I've lost track of how long we've been locked down for.
Yeah, man, just keeping myself busy, doing my music stuff and family and all kinds of things, man. Yeah.
I've got a quick question. Do you feel quite involved with the Mama's Code? Because obviously Jess is the one side of Mama's Code, and I Erica's my wife. So do you feel like you're quite, it not affect you? I don't think that's the word, but like, do you feel like you're quite connected to Mama's Code?
I would say behind the scenes, yeah. I think I've actually said this to her that even though I support her, I give her like some ideas for for episodes. So I would say I play a little part in the background. Yeah. So in some way I am involved.
Yeah.
But I think not on the front end, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I wouldn't actually listen to a full episode. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, you shouldn't have said that. Especially not on the Daddy Takeover. We're about to get cancelled.
And I don't mean that in a bad way, because I suppose maybe because she edits in front of me, I kind of hear some bits here and there, and maybe when she's recording, I'm actually hearing the conversation from her side, so I kind of like put it all together. But I think it's one of those things that it's an audience thing as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I believe that some of the subjects that they touch like might be of my interest, some may not be. So I think it's just like an audience thing, just to kind of summarize it. And for me, I think even though, like I said, I'm supportive of what she's doing, and I'll push it as much as I can, but it's not something that my go-to, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I would say. Okay. That's, as transparent as I can put it. Do you know what I mean? Even though, like, because some people say, oh, that's, that's my girl doing it, and like, then it means that I have to
be fully involved in it.
You know what I mean? That's her thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I fully back it.
But you give her space to express herself and do it herself, and just use you as a backup if she needs help with certain things.
So I play more of a background role in it.
That's good.
You know what I mean?
Good. Cool. I was just curious because it's the same with me. I do tend to listen to some of the episodes. Again, not all of them, because again, like you, some of them don't appeal to me, or I can't relate.
Yeah.
Some of them have really touched me though. Some of them I have to admit, some of them have actually made me tear up. Especially one where the mom, the baby had like a condition, like an illness. I can't remember exactly. Wow, man, that was hard to listen to. But yeah, man, shout out to them, because I think they're doing an amazing job, and I think we both support them 100% regardless.
Exactly. Yeah. Just to make that clear, you know what I mean? Because
the
comments I made,
it
doesn't mean that I'm against it. I think they're doing a great thing, man, and they're touching a lot of people. So I'm fully on with that, man.
Yeah, man. Right, so to get into today's topic, we just thought we'd give the girls a little shout out there, since it's their partners recording today's episode. For those that didn't know, John is Jessica's partner, and Erica's my wife. So today's episode is it's not to give our personal opinions, it's not to shove our thoughts in people's, it's just to kind of open up a conversation, right? Because I know there has been hundreds of times where you find yourself asking, where are these kids' parents?
Okay, yeah.
What are they doing? Why the hell are these guys allowed to do that? These kids allowed to do that, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone, even people listening to this, have found themselves asking that question. So, my kids will never do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think it's happened to all of us, isn't it?
Yeah. So it you know, I was having a conversation with Erica, and there is so many factors to that question. It's not just so much my kids wouldn't do that. Where are these kids' parents? You know. So I think to kind of open up the conversation is the question we want to ask is how different situations can impact a child's upbringing.
Okay.
Right. So, you know, I come from a broken home. My parents split up when they were 13.
Right.
My mom pretty much, I would say, taught me everything I know. My dad was around. I have a great relationship with my dad right now. I'm not gonna sit here and say, I have a great relationship with my dad right now. However, I do feel like my mom was the one who planted those seeds in, right? But it was hard. You know, it was hard. I did my bit of bad stuff when I was growing up. At the time, I didn't really think of there is something missing, like, you know, my dad's input into the whole upbringing. However, I did feel like, how can I explain?
That you was missing out or something? Or?
Yeah, like, you know, like it was a way to rebel against, act rebellious against the whole situation. Now, that was my case. However, how hard do different, I don't know, what's your intake on the question to start off with?
I think, I mean, based on what, you know, what you said about your situation, I think both parents obviously play a big role in certain aspects of a child's life, isn't it? So I would say, if I was to put myself in that situation, I think if I didn't have my dad with me during my upbringing, I don't think I'll be the same person I am now. So I don't know if that's what you're referring to. I mean, I'm not saying that I will be a completely different person, because obviously my mom has put a lot into what I am now. So I'm not discrediting that. I just think there are certain influences, you know, from a dad that kind of shapes, you know, how a child is brought up.
Yeah. Okay. You touched something that's quite interesting, because it's that me and you we're on the opposite sides of the story, right? Your parents are still together. You know, you were brought up with both parents being in the house. So
yeah.
And I was the opposite, right? My parents split up when I was 13, and then the rest is history, right? However, we both have very similar values.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
Right.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So now, when I spoke to Erica about this, and Erica mentioned something like, you know, you can't just say where is this person's parents, because you don't know if this person's parents is a single mom. Sorry,
right.
I mean, a single mom or a single dad. Let's not just say single. You know, you don't know if these people are out there working their butts off to provide for this family, right? And then I had a bit of an argument that, for me, it all goes down to the values you put in your child, regardless of the situation.
Okay.
The values that you put in your child, because if from a young age you're constantly putting excellent values and, you know, good morals into a child, it's very hard for them not impossible, but it's very hard for them to then in the future decide, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this bad.
Yeah.
Because all their life they've grown up thinking, actually, this is the right way to do. Makes me feel good. Then why am I gonna change now? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I see.
And that then I don't feel like then that gets impacted by the circumstances, right? Because again, my mom worked from 7 o'clock in the morning to sometimes 7 o'clock at night, and we'll have to come home from school, and obviously she would leave lunch and everything ready for us. But the time that was spent as a family was limited because she was trying to be out there and provide for us.
Yeah.
Right. To get rent paid, to get, everything at the time when we didn't work, to buy stuff for us. So I do understand that. And some moms have it hard out there, but I don't feel like having a complete family is necessarily the right way for someone not to be, to be messed up when they grow up.
Right. Okay.
Because we have two examples. I had, I lived with my mom and I had broken home. You live with your parents and we have exactly the same values. I will not go out here. I mean, it would be very hard for me to leave this building now and rob someone.
Right. Okay.
Because of the values that my mom put into me.
Yeah.
Right. The same with you. And yet we have different upbringings.
Yeah.
Because we had different situations. Now, it's quite interesting because how do you achieve that? Or, let's not try to work out a formula to how you do that and try to, but, let's try to analyze what is it that gets done. So, let's say in this example, we grew up with good morals and good values coming from different backgrounds, because obviously we're in the times where parents do split up, parents don't work out, some dads walk out, some moms walk out, we're in those times where it's normal to have a broken home. What can we try to analyze and try to, I'm not saying this is a scientific experiment, this is what it is, we might get it wrong, but let's try and try to talk about what could be the reasons.
That's a tricky one, man, because I completely understand what you're saying about the values, and they are obviously important, in the upbringing of a child. But I'm just trying to think ahead if that's enough to stop someone becoming someone else. Do you know what I mean? Because I mean, for us, it has worked out that way. Do you know what I mean? But I'm trying to think of other scenarios. Like, I don't know. I'm going to bring up maybe my cousin. He's back in Colombia, right? I feel like I'm exposing him here, but I would say he's being raised by a single mom, right? My auntie. And she's not necessarily a bad mom, do you know what I mean? And she comes from a good family and she has good values, because I know her from little. And I'm sure she has gave them or passed on the same values that she was brought up with to this child. But at the moment, he's going through a phase that's nothing like what our family is like. You know what I mean? Now, that's one of my cousins. There's another one. Now it's suddenly becoming like, oh, is this a family thing?
Yeah, this is now a family thing.
This is a generational thing. No.
No, because, I mean, you're giving an example because it's your cousin, but it could be thousands of cases just like exactly. that, So this is what we're trying to do. We shed light on those things.
I guess, what I'm trying to argue is that even though we are passing on good values to these kids, they get to an age where it's, I don't know, there's stronger influences outside of their inner circle.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So that's why I'm putting that into perspective, because in our case, I would say he has worked out just fine. You know what I mean? I mean, we didn't turn out to be that bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To put it in that.
But now what I'm going to try to argue there is, were the values put into us as strong as the ones put into kids, like an example, your cousin? The reason why I say that is because I gave you this example last time, right? I've got my kid here. You've got your kid.
Yeah.
I say to my kid, go clean your room.
Right.
And he goes and does it. He cleans his room and he comes out, right? You say to your kid, go clean your room. When you clean your room, I'm going to give you ice cream. He goes and does it. Both kids did
What they were supposed
they
to
were
do.
supposed to do. However, one kid did it with a completely different intention,
Right, yeah.
and end result, because he didn't give a crap about the room. He wanted the ice cream, right?
Yeah.
So yes, we're teaching them those values, and in our heads, oh yeah, no, we're getting things done because it worked. However, it's not really a value. You're teaching that person that is like they're only doing it for what's in it for them. It's not really. Actually, I like seeing my room. You're not teaching them that strong value, that strong feeling of satisfaction. I also gave you this example is that, when Erica I tidy up the room, Joel's and Caden's room, we tidy up, we pick up the toys and we put it, everything looks nice and neat. Joel comes in, he's like, oh my God, I love the way this room looks. I love the feeling. And we embrace that. Yeah, this should keep your room. And now he knows, he associates the feeling of happiness and feeling good with the room being tidy.
Yeah.
So when we say to him, go tidy up, because we don't really say to him, clean up, he's little, but go tidy up, put all the toys in where they're meant to go. He does it, no problem.
Yeah.
Because he likes seeing his room tidy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
If let's say I have the same example, but for whatever reason, always said to him, go tidy up your room and I'll give you some ice cream. I'm doing it without any bad intention, because he's like, oh, a little treat. He done something good, a little treat.
Yeah.
But what's that creating in the child's mind? Oh, if I do something, then I get a treat.
Yeah.
If I go to school, then I get a treat. The day you don't get a treat, then fuck all of you. I'm not gonna do nothing, and I do my own thing, right?
Yeah.
So how strong was those values that got taught to
Yeah, this is why I said is a bit tricky, isn't it? Because I mean, I can only say as much as I know from the outside. You know what I mean? Because even though it's my auntie, I don't live with them, and you know what I mean. I don't know what approach she took. But it's almost like if he sees it in the family, surely he should stick. Do you know what I mean? But it's almost like he takes more from the outside,
right,
than the family side. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I think it becomes harder to practice those values once you're older, because again, like you're saying, you have so many influences. It's total. You've got your friends, you've got social media, you've got different things feeding into your brain, that if those values have not been in you strong enough, they're easily washed away.
I can agree with them, and I think that they do play a big role, in your decision making later on in life. Definitely. I'm just trying to figure out if, like, for example, in my cousin's situation, as he was growing up, he didn't show any signs of, being a bad kid. Do you know what I mean? It was only till a certain age. Well, he's 18 now, I think. But it was only like from the age of, I'd say 14, 15,
right,
that he started kind of like hanging around with the wrong people and
okay, now then there I jump in and say, I would dare to blame your auntie, because she was busy, and I'm sure she was busy working, taking, trying to make a living for him and her, being a single mother, that she then kind of like missed the fact that he was hanging around the wrong people, right?
Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to blame single moms, say, oh, you guys just, all you do is work, because I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. My mom was a single mom and she worked all day long. Like, she used to get home knackered. I understand how hard that is. But again, it's almost like, yes, because if I'm a single dad and I'm working so hard to provide for my kids, we feel like that's the right thing to do. Do you think we're missing out we're missing the fact that we're not putting this strong values in our kids, and we're not on top of our kids? What are they, who are they hanging around with? Who are these people? What are they doing? Because we're so focused on, oh no, we got to provide, the family needs to be well, that then we miss that.
Yeah, so are you saying that, I mean, obviously it's an ongoing thing, isn't it? Because it's from the moment they're born up until I suppose when they leave your house, you still need to apply those things
100%.
every
100%.
day. So
100%. Because the thing is values become, it's like different levels, right? Like I was just giving you the example of the room and ice cream,
yeah,
right? But what then happens? They go to school, and you still applying that. Oh, go to school, and I'm going to give you £100
yeah,
at the end of the week.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like, then what kind of moral values are you teaching your kids? Oh, I only do things if I get paid. I don't do them for my own satisfaction.
yeah,
I'm not gonna think outside the box. I'm not gonna chase my dreams. You know, so many things that could then, and that's the different level of from the ice cream. Yes, the ice cream seems like, oh, that's not a problem, it's fine. But then if you change down to a bigger level,
yeah, exactly.
then it becomes a real problem, right? Oh, you know, do your schoolwork, I'm gonna give you a phone at the end of the year. You know what I mean? It's like, it goes that way as well.
It's weird, you know, because I mean, if I think of myself, my parents used to use that, not all the time, but there was, you know, there were rewards, you know, like me being good at school at the end of the month, for example, I'll get to play Nintendo, for example. You know what I mean? And
so would you say then is how you use the rewards? Because then that, to me personally, that doesn't seem like a big deal, because it's like, well, and I've said it to Joel as well.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it.
Right.
Where, you know, especially in this lockdown where we had to teach him at home, be like, you do your schoolwork and you might get to play Nintendo at the end. Before that, you don't touch on Nintendo. But it was more like because he wanted to wake up and play Nintendo, right? So we were like, no, there's priorities. Now that's the way I see it. Maybe I'm getting the whole, but the way we would say is that there's no iPad, no Nintendo before you do your schoolwork. After you do your schoolwork, then you can have an hour of Nintendo, or you can have an hour on iPad or whatever.
yeah,
But before that, there's priorities. You have to do your schoolwork. Now, I don't see any harm on your parents saying to you, well, you've done really good this month at school. Here you go treat yourself, buy yourself a new pair of trainers. Not every month. I feel like from time to time, that's okay. It's incentives, right? Like, but then again, we spoke about this last time. It's like, how bad or how good are incentives? Are the kids are just gonna start doing everything because, oh, I know that at the end of the month I'm gonna get something, or I know that at the end of the year I'm gonna get really good Christmas presents, and that's the only reason why I'm doing it. Not actually because I want to be better, or I want to learn, or
yeah. I don't think incentives are a bad thing, and I'm not saying you are saying that as well. I suppose it's just a thing of balance, isn't it? Like how you are using those incentives. I think when it becomes the main source of attention, I guess that's when it becomes bad.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because I mean, we all reward ourselves, you know, when we, you know, like that's how we meet goals. You know what I mean? Like, we're like, oh, you know what? By the end of this month, you know, if I put in this amount of work, I'll be able to get myself this, for example. Do you know what I mean? So it's a form of reward. But I suppose it's how you approach it and how you phrase it to, especially kids, you know, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the main question is how different situations impact a child's upbringing. Do you then think, you know, when a kid goes through a breakup and they experience a breakup, do you think that could also lead to them having some kind of resentment against the parents for, you know, well, Julanito there has a home where he's got his dad and his mom, and they're all happy and they have dinner at the table, and I don't see you, mom or dad, because you're out working constantly to provide, because it's just one of you, and so on. Do you think that could then lead to
some kind of
rebellious behavior or easily persuaded to go that way, right? Because the reason why I'm saying this, bro, is because this question always comes to my mind around my area. You know, I live around South London.
Okay.
And there's a lot of youths that gather around late at night, bro. And sometimes these kids go from the age of like 12, 13 to 20, 21, right? That's the age And I always wondered to myself, like, if I'm a parent, if Joe was 14 and he's not home by 10, I'm calling him. Like, where the hell are you? Why are you out so late? So in my mind, I'm thinking, what is going through this parents' minds to allow the kids to be out so late?
Yeah, definitely, man. I think there is that factor of negligence, I guess. You know what I mean, from a parent.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if I talk from my own experience, bro, how old was I? I mean, I was friggin' 16, and my parents, you know, they were still kind of timing me in that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to me, at that time, I thought it was crazy.
Yeah.
Because, I mean...
You want your freedom.
Yeah,
at that time.
and my friends, like, they will go out so freely.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the ones I used to hang around with, they're not necessarily bad guys.
Well, no, I'm joking. I'm joking.
But they were freely
Yeah.
out on the street. But I would say this: they were raised by a single parent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Their mum. So I would argue that there wasn't that.
So maybe do you think then is, you know, let's not say that because it sounds like we're attacking single parents, right? Definitely not. However, do you think there is some kind of guilt from a single parent? And I don't want to say single moms because there are single dads out there as well.
Yeah.
So from a single parent, do you feel like there is some kind of guilt and it's easier for their kids to persuade them to do things and be more flexible on things because they play the whole, like, you know, they feel guilty from not having been able to give this person a home of their own, like a full mom and dad in a home. So if, to give an example, like I've got a single parent and I'm saying, okay, mom, I'm going to go out. And obviously it's 7 o'clock. So this mom or dad feels guilty that, you know, for some reason they don't have a complete home. Then just that's the way for them to say, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, to please them.
Yeah.
So to go in please mode all the time.
Yeah, I think
because loads of things come to my mind as well. Like, you know, are these young parents? Are these old parents? Your older parents who are tired, who are easily, because, you know, if your son comes up to you and says, oh, dad, I'm going to go meet Robert down the road and we're just going to, you know, chill. All you could do is believe them. Yeah. Right? However, I know you as a young parent, you're going to be like, well, I'm going to check out who this Robert guy is because I don't want my son. Do these parents just not have that inside of them and they just can't be bothered because they're older parents? Or I don't know. It's so many things that come into play.
No, I know what you're saying, man. But this is why I raised that scenario with, you know, my friends at that age, because I think it was that, again, I don't want to sound like I'm blaming because they're great people, you know. But if I was to compare the two, my parents were always on my ass. Do you know what I mean? Even at the age of 16, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Slowly, as I turned, you know, 18 and that kind of, like, they won't question me as much, but I think they were more comfortable with my decision making, I suppose. So, I don't know. But they were constantly there. Like you said, like, you know, these kids that you see out on the streets, like, they can be there all day and there's no sort of pressure for them to kind of like get back home. So I guess that's what you're kind of saying. Whereas for me, like, personally, like, at that age, I mean, me being a man, I felt like shit, like, you know, I'm 16 already, like give me some space, you know what I mean? Yeah. But even so, they were still concerned about where I was and, you know, what time I'm getting home. Okay, you can go, but come back at a certain time. And if I wasn't there at that time, you know, there'll be consequences. They'll be calling my. So I still had that sort of like, oh shit, like then, I've got someone to respect, I guess, or a home.
Then that right there takes us back to the, you know, they were practicing values even as you got older. Exactly. They didn't stop, just because this guy cleans his room.
I think that's where, it's
an ongoing thing until you feel, you know, there's so much, because I know for a fact that once you're 18, you're a grown up and you got the freedom and so on. your parents can suggest things, but you know, it's up to you to listen, right? However, like I said at the beginning, I feel like once you're 18 and plus, it's harder for you to make dumb decisions if you've had good values and good, you know, morals, whatever, inserted in you from the beginning all the way to it's harder to bend, let's say. And you just proved it right there. You know, your parents, when you were 16, 17, they will still call you and be like, yo, you need to be at home at this time. I told you to be home at this time.
Yeah.
And if you weren't there, I'm not going to say they beat you, but there were consequences. You're not going out next time because you don't respect what we said. This is our home. You know, you have to respect that. And I feel like that's very important. And this is where I argue that, you know, it's our responsibility until our kids leave our house to guide them and be there and reminding them of those morals, of those values all the way through. Not just because they're 16, they're 17, all the way through. They have to, and we have to be there to guide them. Because just like you said, when you're young, you think you know it all. You think, oh, why are these people on my case? Why don't you just let me live? But sometimes, you know, you have to do it respectfully though. Obviously, you got to respect people's space, but you have to do it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be on top of people's case, of your kids' cases.
I think, yeah, definitely, man. I think that sort of answers that as well, because I'll there was an example.
Is it one of your cousins?
No. This is my own experience.
Okay.
Again, it was like around that age, because, you know, I was going out a lot, but within restrictions, I would say.
Yeah.
And I remember that it wasn't just my parents, but even the family around. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we live in a small community. Anyone can spot you here and there. You know what I mean? And I remember my auntie calling my dad a Saturday morning. I remember telling him that she saw me in Elephant and Castle or something like that, the bait place, with con un bareto, basically, like bunning. You know what I mean?
Thank God you weren't with me.
Bro, and that was a lie. Not that she was trying to, like, you know, trick me. But it was because I think she was driving or something and she saw someone that looked like me. Yeah. And she was, oh my God, I can't believe, you know.
So she straight away thought, oh my God, we need to deal with this. We can't just let it fly.
Yeah. So she called my dad immediately. Sorry, not when she saw, because I was at home. Obviously, that was like the next day. And she told him, look, this happened and blah, blah, blah. Like, you need to sort this out, basically. Do you know what I mean? So there's still that support from even outside my parents. And my dad confronted me straight away. Do you know what I mean? And bro, I almost shat my pants. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Because I never did that. You know what I mean? And when he told me this, I was like, how the hell do I convince my dad that wasn't me? Yeah. Because for all he knows, he's like, oh, he's lying to cover.
Yeah, we've got to believe my sister, so
exactly,
you know, it's his word against her.
Bro, I was crying. I was like, yo, like that wasn't me. Like, what the hell? Like, who the hell is making this shit up and blah blah blah. Yeah. But the point is that, you know, imagine even that at that age, he wasn't like, oh yeah, he's there, like whatever, that's his life. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, even my auntie was there, like thinking, shit, like, nah, like that's family. We need to sort this out. Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of thing that I guess that certain kids miss out on. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have that pressure of, like, you know.
You mean they missed out on when they don't have like a like their parents don't care about them as much. Yeah, not care about them.
Because it's not. But it's that what we're saying is applying those values every time. Every time
without letting it slip.
I think that's where it might go wrong for some kids. You know.
Yeah. It's quite tricky, isn't it? Because you have single parents out there who are, you know, hardworking people, decent people, raising kids. Their plan wasn't to get kids and then have to do it on their own. Yeah. That was definitely not no one's plan. That's no one's plan. It's just the way life works, right? And then, you know, how do you deal with it?
You know what? I was actually going to ask you, I don't know if that's going in a different direction, but before we do move on to that, I wanted to ask you, in your case, because I think you're probably a perfect example of that, you know, being brought up by a single mom that was working full time until late. How did your mom control you? I mean, I know that sounds bad, but like, you know what I mean? Like, keep you in line, basically.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask you something about that as well. Bro, in my case, there was a level of respect I had for my mom. And I don't know, now I think about it, I don't know if it was, because my mom hit us. My mom, you know, she's an old school Colombian mom who's, you know, who thinks, you know, beating is the best way to teach your kids. Okay. And it's very normal in Colombia, you know, it's not like
chancla time.
Yeah, like chancla time, exactly. You know, you hear like chancla time. And like most of the people my generation got the chancla at least once in their life, right?
Yeah.
It's only from, you know, let's say 2010 onwards that people kind of relaxed about it. And because the new generation, our generation becoming parents, feel like there's better ways to do things, right? So I don't know if the level of respect I have for my mom was because la chancla. I want to say no, but I mean, I'm not a psychologist. I don't know what kind of fucked up mentality I have right now because of the beats, because that's what people say, you know, that if you get too many beats, then you're psychologically messed up. I don't feel messed up. I could be. But it was more the respect I had for my mom, not so much for her being my mom, but for her being the woman she is, right? Because from little, all I saw from my mom was giving her 150%. Bro, she used to take us to wherever she was working and sit there, you know, put us through that just to get by, you know. When I was younger and we got to this country, my mom used to do nails, right? So she used to do manicure and pedicure, right? And she would never leave us. And so she would get customers, and if she said to the customer, I'm taking my kids, 2 kids with me, and they said no, she would cancel the job. She would never say, oh no, then stay here by yourself and I'm gonna go do this. She would never do that. She made sure that she was there with her kids, keep an eye on her kids. Yes, it was boring as hell. It was no life for a kid, but it's the way she had to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like that gave me respect and admiration for my mom. You know, the struggle she's putting through, she's getting us through this. For me, when I said, you know, going out and being a criminal was not worth it. You know, I'll be losing out so much for, you know, being a criminal. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm a saint. I haven't done nothing bad in life. Of course I've done bad things. Of course I've done, just like any teenager, just like any young person, I've done my share of bad things, you know. However, the respect and the values my mom had put inside of me outweighed those bad things, right? So I made bad decisions. However, when it was getting really bad, I was like, okay, this is too much now. I'm going back to my home where I feel safe, right? And that was, I think, something that also helped me when I was older, because obviously, like, we're talking about values having to be practiced until you're older, not just because you taught them in the beginning, that's it, you can forget about them. So you got to practice those values until you leave home. And something that helped me when I left home when I was 19, was when my mom said to me, look, you're a man now. When I was 18, I remember it so clear. She made a key out of paper, right? A little key. And then she came up to me and she said, look, you're 18. Legally, you're allowed to do whatever you want. You're allowed to smoke, you're allowed to drink, you're allowed to stay out all night. You don't have to tell me anything, right?
Okay.
Here's the key to your life. I no longer have the key to your life. So I no longer...
She did that,
yeah, bro. I've got pictures of me with the key and I'm like so happy with my key. And she said, here's the key to your life. However, while you're living under my roof, it's my rules, right? Because it's my house. So I don't want this, and this, and that. These are the rules. You want to stay there? I'm happy for you to stay there. You want to stop studying? Absolutely fine. You're the owner of your life, but I need to start paying this much rent, this many bills, So when I was 18, she, instead of saying, you know, kind of carrying on, treating me like a kid, she gave me the key to my life. There you go.
So that was your birthday present? Your 18th birthday.
Yeah. I got a paper key.
With the conditions.
Yeah. So, you know, she said, because I've never been a very academical person. You know, I've struggled to learn by sitting in a classroom and listening to people.
Okay.
So they kind of knew that I wasn't going to go into college, that I wasn't going to go into university. I tried. So she was like, look, if you don't want to do college, if you don't want to study, these are the terms of living under my roof, right? I want to know, I don't want to know exactly what you're doing, but I want to know that you're okay. If you leave, make sure you're telling me you're okay, because I'm the one here worrying about you. So even then, after she gave him the key to my life and all of that, she still was practicing those values. You know, respect me as a human being. Don't respect me as your mom, but I live here with you. So respect the fact that I'm here worrying about you, and let me know where you are. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so it's little things that you, now that we're talking about it, you think, oh shit, yeah. Like, so when I moved out, when I was 19, I moved out. I was my own man, but I took all of that with me.
Yeah.
Right. And that helped me so much. You know, when she used to make me clean up my room, when she taught me to cook, all those things that she was just, that at the time I used to think, this is so fucking boring. Bro, it helped me live by myself.
Definitely. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So in that case, it was, you know, I definitely think the values, man, the values were 100% there to the day I left the house. Yeah. Right. And the respect that she earned, that I have for her, for the woman she is, not because she's my mom, but the woman she is. Bro, she's determined, and she gave her life for us, like all moms do.
Yeah.
You know, that's not the one case off. I mean, 99.9% of the moms give their lives to their kids and devote their lives to their kids, and you know, there's not enough praise to go for them. You know, we shouldn't celebrate them once, they should celebrate them all year round.
Yeah. Because
of that. So yeah, like that's how I see it from my point of view. And that's why sometimes is I'm a bit ignorant to accepting the fact that, oh, it's because it's a single mom. Mm-hmm. I come from a single mom. There's no excuses.
I see what you mean. I think definitely those values, sorry, they kind of create a barrier, not a bad barrier, but you know, a barrier of how far you can go in terms of, you know, your moral decisions and your
100%.
So, like you said, I mean, she wasn't around as much during the day and that, but you still feel like you owed it to her to stay in line. You know what I mean? Even when you was going sort of like to the border of that, you know, how far you could push it, you'll be like kind of stepping back, like, oh shit, okay, yeah, I've got one leg out, but no, I'm coming back. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I definitely agree with that, man. And what we said earlier, man, I think applying that right until, I mean, forever, really. You know what I mean? You as a parent, it's your responsibility to apply that forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think obviously until you become your own sort of individual, I say, well, you know, an adult, let's say, you've got that responsibility under your belt to apply every single day. You know, reminding them, like,
yeah.
I mean,
I think it gets to a point where even if you stopped reminding them, it's just part of who you are.
Yeah.
It's very hard, like I said at the beginning, it's very hard for us to walk out this room and make a stupid decision, because those values and those morals have been inserted in us so deeply that it won't let us.
What would you do if Jojo is your eldest? He gets he becomes 15, for example, and even though you've done all of that to show him the right way, at the age of 15 he starts being a bit rebellious and just not really listening to you. What would be your approach then? Like, would you
not give up? 100%. I think then it would be on crazy dad value and morals and support 100%, because I think the problem is, or not the problem is, but I think the issue with that there is that if I find out, oh no, he's going the wrong way, and you don't tackle it head on, and you try to go like around it, like I feel like that's when you start losing shit, and you start losing the kid too, because being badly influenced is so much easier than being good influenced, right? Yeah, we see it everywhere,
that's true,
all day long. bad influence wins all the time because it's fun, it's cool, it's what's trending, it's da-da-da, you know what I mean? So for that reason, I would literally just go and try my hardest. Like I said at the beginning, there is going to be people that are, it doesn't matter how much you try, they won't change, right? You could see it from little. Some people are hard-headed, some people are a bit stubborn. But I feel like as a parent, you should always try until your last breath. Like you like you said, even if they're older, you still try, right? Because it's giving up on them.
Man, that reminds me of that film. I think it's called Beautiful Boy. I think it's called. That film was hard, man. Like, it was. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. No.
In short, it's basically about a boy. Same thing, same scenario. They've raised a good kid. He got to the age where he started hanging around with the wrong people and doing drugs, and eventually he got addicted to it.
Oh, I think I have actually, and he keeps going to like rehabs and then he comes out, but then he keeps doing it.
His dad never gives up on him,
Yeah.
but it's hard, and like just seeing that process, like it's crazy, man. Like, but I'll take you up on that as well, man. Like, never giving up. It's
because I the thing with me, bro, is I'd rather have people say like, his son is, the worst scum of the earth, but this guy never gave up on trying to make him a better person. Then say, well, I feel sorry for this guy. He's the scum of the earth because his dad gave up at the first sight of weakness that he had. Like, there are kids for life. Yeah. They're not temporary. They're not, yes, they go off and they make their own lives, but there are kids for life. And we have to be with them for forever.
If he committed a serious crime, would you give him up?
No. Straight up, no.
Really?
I wouldn't give him up. And I know that's bad, and I shouldn't be advising that. But me, as a person, it's hard. It's very hard.
Wouldn't you give him up for him to learn his lesson?
I was just going to say, it depends what crime. If he's killed someone because, I'm just cool, I stab anyone, I'll call the police on him myself. And please take this murderer away. For him to teach I wouldn't give up on him, but that's my way of teaching him. Yeah. Put him away. Now, if it was an accident, or if he was defending himself and he accidentally killed someone, I would let the police do their job. But I would not give him up. Because he's my son.
No, of course, that's a different scenario.
Exactly. So it depends on. So if he's committing something on purpose, crimes on purpose, 100% give him up. With my heart broken, 100% give him up, because it would be very. How do I teach Caden to be different?
Exactly.
I've got another son to keep going. How do I teach him to be different? But if the crime is whatever, it's not. I mean, it's hard because what crime is acceptable.
Yeah, of course.
It's just that us as parents would judge different crimes from our personal point of view. So if he stole a packet of crisps, I'm not going to bring him up to police for that. I will teach him a lesson. Yeah. But if he murders someone on purpose, he definitely needs to go away. He needs to pay for what he did. He needs to learn. But then I feel like if he's got to that stage, I failed as a parent. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because if he got to the stage where he's able to make a conscious decision about stabbing someone and knowing the consequences, I failed as a parent. Do you know what I mean?
Would you kick him out before the age of 18?
What do you mean kick him out?
Kick him out of the house.
For doing something? Or just because he needs to go?
No, because he's, what I was saying earlier, he's being rebellious or whatever. No. Like, he's not.
I feel like kicking...
It's just giving him
that. Yeah, it's giving him that, I give up on you.
It's like giving him their win, isn't it?
Yeah, I give up on you, you go do you, and leave me alone. It's easier for me to not live with you and not look the other way. No. If it's hard times... Bro, I'm doing the best I can, and we all are. Everyone that's a parent is doing their best they can. And that's great. Keep doing that.
Going back to the original question, do different circumstances affect the upbringing of a child, right? What about environment? you know, and like the environment that you're raised in. So I'm saying this because of, again, I'm going to bring up my cousin again. I feel like this is an attack on him.
You two have a big family, so you know.
But let me tell you why I'm bringing this up, because there's 3 examples right now that I can think of. It's him. Right now he's living in Colombia, right? In Cali, El Royal.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's a tough place, you know what I mean, to be in. And as I mentioned earlier, he, you know, when he was young, good kid and that, and then obviously at the age of 12 when he started mixing with more people, then he started picking up these bad habits, you know what I mean, and becoming not what I guess my auntie intended.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying that he's completely off, but again, it's things that you don't really expect. Now, there's this other cousin that was in the same sort of scenario,
Mm-hmm.
but he's now living in Spain. And now that I see him, like, his appearance, his everything just changed. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
he now seems more composed, more in line. Do you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't look like the gamín, por decir que that I used to see in when he was in Colombia.
Right.
Because he used to hang around with a lot of, again, like, it's that environment, you know what I mean? Like your friends are always going to be a friend of another guy that's this and that.
Yeah.
So in Colombia, you know what I mean? So I think
Do they have the same mum?
No.
They have different mums.
Different.
I think if we go a bit technical on it, it's like, what did the mums do different?
Right, yeah.
Again, we go back to my conversation is, did the mom of the one in Spain install so many, like, the value she put in him was so strong that when he did go to that edge, we're like, no, forget this. I'm going to change my life around and be a good person. Opposed to the one that, you know, was around and maybe her values weren't as strong as she thought she was. What did they do different?
Well, it's weird because I didn't mention this, but my second cousin, that the one that's in Spain now, he's got a sister.
Okay.
And we could say that, I mean, same upbringing.
Yeah.
Obviously, female, male, slightly different, obviously. But we could just say that she would have become that gamina as well, you know what I mean? But no, I think she completed uni and all that. Like,
okay.
So this is what I'm saying. So 2 people from the same mom, dad, but this one was going off the rails.
But I think pretty much same outcome, don't you think? From the one family, because yes, even though this one went and tasted the waters of being bad, still thought, no, actually, you know what, this is not for me, coming back, fixing my life. And the girl just, now, again, scientifically, it's been proven that men are a bit more crazy than women. Women are a bit more focused, they're a bit more central, they're able to concentrate and you know, it's very weird to find, like, you know, women involved in gangster stuff, and we find it weird when there are some.
I mean, I'm not saying just you know, criminal activities, but like
not studying or just not really caring, but it's very hard to find women like that, right? As you know, with men, it's a lot more common to find men that just become, you know, gangsters or they take drugs, and it's just scientifically proven, right? I have an example as well of something like that, right? So the area where my parents in law live, so Erica's parents, it's a really nice area. I really like the area. However, 10 years ago, it was one of the roughest areas in Brixton, right? And she grew up with obviously all the boys that hang around there and so on. And I've met her neighbor that lives on top of my parents-in-law. And this guy is you know, he's a decent guy. He comes from a single mother. He's got 2 brothers or something like that. And this guy works. You see him in like his suits, and he's around the same age as Erica, and he's very focused. And he grew up around the same age as Erica and all these other guys that you see in the block just hustling and doing. And then that makes me think, oh, what's the difference? You know? Well, I asked Erica that, and this mom was calling the house phone at a certain time to make sure her kid was in the house. There, it goes back to this guy is in a messed up environment, because back then when they were growing up, Brixton was, this area was one of the roughest areas of Brixton. Yet this woman was able to
keep him in line,
right? By showing him the way, I guess, or giving him good values and morals, right? This guy, you see him now, he lives in the same area, but you see the guys, let's say, that grew up with him at the same time, some of them are like really rough and they're into the gangster stuff. This guy's got, he's got his nice car, he's got his good job. Like I say, you see him in suits, he's very polite. How you doing? Da, 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 da. Do you know what I mean? Completely different, opposite to this, to these guys you see in the blocks.
Yeah.
Now, what happened there? The same environment, single mom. That's where I go. My points on is down to us and giving these kids that we're bringing up excellent values and really taking time on them to make sure they're as good as is possible for us, and giving them the best values and morals as possible, is down to the parents. That's where I say it's down to the parents. And if they do start bending and we let them, it's our fault.
Yeah.
Because again, we have so many examples, and I know this is not the one-off. There is, you've got an example in Colombia, you can have people in Africa, you can have people in Spain, in Portugal, anywhere in the world, you get the same examples of two people in the same neighborhood or same circumstances, and then two different outcomes. And I always feel like it's down to the parents.
Parenting. Definitely, man. That's very true, man. I guess that answers the question, because I was going to say, like, if we were back in Colombia, you being same situation, single mom, what would be your outcome? You know what I mean? I think because of the environment.
That's a good point. That's a good question. I think
I've asked myself that question as well, and I think, like, what would I be doing in Colombia? like, would I be, like, would I have been influenced by outside external factors? You know what I mean? External people, or I don't know, because here, you've lived here in the UK, it's completely different. You know what I mean? It's like you actually have, if you're out on the streets, it's a choice you made. Do you know what I mean? Whereas there, sometimes it's not really you don't have a choice, because like sometimes unemployment or these kind of things that might put you into these
I think that's a good question, man. I think, I joke around with Erica saying that I'll be the biggest drug addict in the world. But I honestly believe that I would be more educated. I think I would have focused more because in Colombia you don't move up a year if you don't actually move up a year, right? Here is more slack. So it's I done my GCSE, I got crap GCSEs. There was the language barrier, which obviously I didn't show interest in education. So I think if I was in Colombia,
that's so true,
I would be maybe more educated. I'll have a better position in life, maybe. Who knows? But I know for a fact that I wouldn't be a criminal. Because my mom there or here or in La China, Conchinchina, she wouldn't allow it. She would make sure that her sons or her kids were getting good values and morals to make them good men.
No, I agree, man. I think I guess an example would be I keep bringing my family over here.
Mate, you're gonna get lynched by your family, bro.
We're like, why are you out there exposing? No, but like my dad, man, I think is a great example of that. Bro, he was fully raised in Colombia, until the age of 28 when he came here, I believe. So you know what I mean, like his whole life he was there. In that barrio, you know what I mean, El Royo was still probably one of the anyways.
He's gonna start crying up in the studio. It was so hard.
It was so hard. Bro, he grew up with, to put it in
the gangsters,
blunt words, killers. You know what I mean?
Or the sicarios.
And he was barrio. Like, he was basically part of the gang, let's say, but not in with. He didn't do anything for them, but
that's
he was.
what he tells you. No, joking.
Yeah, that's what he tells me.
Joking. Go on.
No, but like, you know what I mean? It's like they were his friends because they lived next door to each other, but he never turned out to be, you know, a criminal like that. Do you know what I mean? So, definitely, I would argue, you know what I mean? It does come from within, you know. So if I was to be put in that same situation, I don't think I'll be like you. I wouldn't end up being a criminal or anything. I suppose there will be more temptation. I suppose. No, you I mean, because I mean, you are surrounded by people that might even get you involved in something that you don't want to be part of. You know what I mean? Yeah. But just because they're your friends, you end up being in a very unfortunate situation where you're shit. I'm involved in this now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which then leads to more and more.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I think environment also plays a role.
I think they go hand to hand.
Yeah.
The upbringing you get at home from your parents or parent, and the environment you're in. Because obviously, if you live in the countryside and you don't have great values from your parents, there's not much you can do wrong apart from maybe kicking a cow, killing a couple of chickens, cutting a tree, right? But if you live in a ghetto where you see crime and violence everywhere, but you've got really good values from your parents, then there could be a chance you become the president. I think we've had a good conversation. Hopefully it's not too biased, not too one-sided. I've tried to. No,
definitely not. I think we gave some examples, you know what I mean, of different scenarios and that. Like, I'm sure there's millions more.
Yeah.
But we kept it quite neutral, I suppose.
Yeah, and that was the whole idea, you know. If you do end up listening to this episode all the way here, make sure you comment your point of view on the girls' Instagram at mamas.code, before they attack me for saying it wrong. I always read the comments and I always try to get involved, and I love the fact that, you know, some people are giving me feedback and some people are challenging my opinions. You know, for Ando's episode we got a couple of challenges and I explain myself, and then, you know, conversation, and this is what the podcast is all about, you know, opening up those conversations, shedding lights on things that people don't know about, hearing different points of views.
That helps even, you know, everyone to better themselves as well, you know, as parents and people. And
at the end of the day, we're on this journey together.
Yeah.
You know, we're on this parenting journey, parenting boat together. And if you can learn a little thing from someone, why not?
Yeah, man. I like what you do in that, you know, this Daddy Takeover thing, because, you know, I'll put it out there, you know, sometimes, well, one of my fears as a parent is that failing as a father, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because
I fail to see the little things that will make a great person. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So like, for example, today we touched on, you know, the values and that. And even though I'm aware of that, it's not a thing of like, oh, okay, I did it once and that's it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
something,
you know, it's an ongoing thing that, you know, you need to keep putting on them. So it's things like that I guess, you know, it helps me see, obviously, that, I mean, I'm a new dad, you know what I mean? I'm learning as I go.
Newish.
But, yeah.
Newish.
Or newish, yeah. It's almost 2 now. But
yeah.
But again, you know, very fresh to the game. But seeing these different perspectives from different dads as well helps, you know what I mean? Because, for example, Mama's Code, a lot of moms can relate and they all talk about their experiences. This and that, and I can do that and that. You know what I mean? For us, it's a different sort of journey in a way, you know. So
also because we tend to hold back from talking about things like this.
Yeah.
You know, little struggles. Oh, you know, it's very hard for us dads to express ourselves with other dads. So that's where this whole idea came from. You know,
I love it, man.
And I appreciate the space the girls have allowed me to have to talk to different dads. So definitely with this episode, it was to give you guys, or try to give you guys, a neutral, you know, topic and points of views, trying to see from all perspectives, not just judgy. I hope we came across like that. I hope not judgy. I hope we came across neutral instead of judgy.
I mean, my family won't take it like that.
Yeah, your family's definitely gonna.
I'm doomed now.
Yeah.
That's it.
But yeah, guys, I mean, this brings us to the end of the episode. It's been a really good one, really interesting. Don't forget to check out the Instagram, mamas.code, and El Genialista, at El Genialista. Check out his beats.
That's it.
Little promo right there. If you guys want to check me out as well, it's at I am Olimac. You're probably just going to be bored because it's all cycling related. So yeah, but if you want to check it out, if you want to comment on anything or if you want to suggest anything, do it on the episode, on the photo of this episode when it comes out on the Instagram. And then I always read the comments, like I've mentioned before. So I will take all your advice and read all your conversation. So yeah, till next time, keep it locked.